My name is Ritu LeBouef. I have always been a spiritual seeker. I have, along the way, come across many, many beautiful people. One of them is Alia Jawad. During my journey of being on spiritual path, I've had lifetime of spiritual experiences with the blessings of my Guruji. And I found many healing capabilities within me. And I have been sharing those for many, many years. Many miraculous healings have happened. So many people have come to know me from the energy healing and other alternative methods that I have been using. And they have been telling other people about this journey that I've been on. And this is how I came to know Alia. She first contacted me. She wanted to talk to me about energy healing. I found out that she has some wonderful capabilities and that she has been using with other women, and how much healing and relaxation they have received from it. So in that process, I also found out that she's an author. I really wanted to know more about that book. I wanted to know about her life journey. What was her background and how did she reach that point of giving this beautiful spiritual message. It's mainly for the youth, she says. And I thought, while we are having a private conversation, why not also record it? Because I think there is going to be some powerful messages for many other people. I do want to indicate that I have a website, I have my YouTube channel, I have my Facebook page. They are all called Spiritual Route, R-O-U-T. And currently, I am also working on my own book and also on supporting people who want to remove their energy blockages, mainly due to suppressed, unresolved emotions and traumas. I do private one-on-one sessions with them. I would love to talk what Alia has to tell us about her journey and her energy healing practice and her book. Welcome, Alia.
Thank you, Ritu. Thank you.
First of
Yes.
all, I'm curious to see the cover page of your book before we even start. All right, tell me what's the name? It's in Urdu, right?
Yes, its name in Urdu is Bainul Mazhabi Tanazur में रूहानियत और हुसैनियत.
Okay.
And in English, we would say the spirituality and Husainiyat in an interreligious perspective. I would say that this is an outcome of my PhD degree. My PhD degree was in the indigenous education system of Pakistan, and I worked on the Ved, the Upanishad, or maybe Upanishad. I don't know the exact.
Upanishad, yes.
Upanishad, and mainly my focus was on the Buddhist monasteries and their education system, and later education system that was an offshoot, and it took many aspects from it. Now, because I concentrated on the whole personality development, that was about the very close interrelationship of the material life with the spiritual life. Until and unless these two interconnected perspectives, you don't connect them while teaching, you do not produce a complete personality of a human being or a student. So in this book, I went further ahead of my PhD research, and I talked about the interrelationship of everyday ordinary human beings, their material bodies, their five senses, the material senses, and its relationship with the spirituality. They are both interconnected in each and every human beings. That was my main message. Second message was that what was our travel, what was our journey, how we traveled when these two aspects were separated, how they were separated, how we moved more towards the materialism, and the spirituality is it's almost ignored aspect. And at the end, I concluded of my first part that all of us, we have some aspects, special aspects. Today we call them extra normal aspects or extraordinary aspects, but these are not the extraordinary aspects. We will talk about it when we go further in our talk. But my conclusion and my teaching to youth is, and this is qualitative study in which I interviewed a lot of youth, and I found that within their heart there's so many youth, a majority, who still believe in deep spirituality, but they do not find it in their general social life. They are in search of it. And my conclusion is that if we again interconnect our both aspects, we will have a better life than we have today. And all our paranoias and so many different miseries we have, we may lessen some of them. In my second part, I talked especially about the Majalis Imam Hussain, of especially of the Shiite sect of Islam. Basically, Imam Hussain was the grandson of our holy prophet, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But not only all Muslims, but all religions, they have a very deep respect and reverence for this Imam Hussain alayhi salam, because he fought for truth and justice. He was killed for the truth and justice. And now remembering his martyrdom, that is a deep aspect of so many different people in this world. I talked about those gatherings, and I talked that how those gatherings, they take us further to the spiritual world, and they complete our personalities, our persons, not for this world, but also for our hereafter. I also gave some little talks about my book on YouTube, and I do not have any name for my channel yet, but if someone types Dua, DUA, and then Alia Jawad, they will get to my channel. And I also gave some spiritual lessons, especially for youth, on my channel. And those are in Urdu, in my language.
This book has only been published in Urdu?
Yes, yet it's only been published in Urdu.
Okay. How can one get the book if they want? Where do they go to get the book?
Actually, they can contact me, and then I have copies. In America, I can send it to anywhere if people want it.
Okay.
And it's also available in Pakistan. In Pakistan, it's available in market, but in America, only personally, I have it.
Mm-hmm. So how do people contact you if they want this book? So people can find you on Facebook under Alia Jawad, and then they can send you a message.
Aliajawad.
Okay, and you can either share it right now, or when I post the video, then I'll put it in the description also.
Here is my email address.
It is Alia, AliaJawad 09
at
gmail.com.
Okay. This is my email. They can contact me on Facebook.
Great. So tell us more. Who are the youth that you interviewed for this?
I actually interviewed for the both parts, and mostly they were the youth. There were some middle-aged people. Mm-hmm. Mostly they were youth, and they talked about their own spiritual experiences. And as I talked before, that whenever we talk about spirituality, people take it somewhat different. They think that we are thinking about the saint. They think that only saint or prophets or higher level people, they have spirituality, they have the spiritual skills, or they think about so many fraud going on in the name of spirituality these days. And people say, no, we don't want to talk about that aspect. Why you don't want to talk about the social aspects or political or things like that? I wanted to take people out of this confusion and tell them that this is a part of life. I have two names. One is Alia, second is Jawad. Jawad was my father. We are two persons very close to each other, interconnected. Mm-hmm. And now it makes just one name. Similarly, our body and our spirit, they are the two parts, and they are interconnected. They do not separate when we are in this world. And when the body does not remain, the spirit remains. Everyone believe in that. But still there are some confusions. So I found that all the youth to whom I talked, they had one or other way of relating with that higher part of them, the higher part of their brain, their sixth sense, their higher frequencies. And almost every human being in his or her life get very close to the higher self, the higher brain capacities, the higher frequencies, the higher vibrations, the higher electromagnetic waves that our brain work. We generally do not see it, and these days we generally do not see it because we are too busy. Our life is so fast. But still, these days people have their experiences. So the people talk magnificent things. They see the true dreams, they can see some future events, they can see some past events. Some people had near death experiences where they talk to me, and I wrote that in my book.
Oh, you mentioned NDEs also.
Yes,
Oh,
I did.
very interesting. Okay.
I did. NDE experiences where even my father had at least 2 or 3 times NDE experiences.
Can
So
you mention that briefly?
my father had a different type of NDE experiences. One day he had some sort of very strong pain, and he was not unconscious, but he was almost unconscious. And he said that I there was a river in front of me, and I crossed that river, and I went to other side, and I was in between the clouds. He said, I don't know whether I was running, and then at once I started flying, and I was in between the clouds. That's it. Then in another occasion, someone died, very dear to him died, and he was crying very hard. And at once he went to some sort of condition or something like that, or unconsciousness. He was not clear, but he said that all my dead cousins, whether and my friends, whether they were male or female, they all came to me at once. They were all with me.
Yeah.
Then in the third occasion, at that time he had a little brain stroke, and he said that at once there was a great electricity or electric very great electric spark in my brain. And then I saw that, like, the flights come one after the other, flying very fast. All the dead people, they were flying and they were coming to me. That was my father. And then one of my friend, she has some extra normal capacities, and
We
she
can
is
call them extrasensory capacities. Is that?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Same thing. Okay.
Yes,
Mhm.
extra normal, extra sensory. She has some skills too, and she is very close to her father, and her father died. And she said that one day I had an very chronic pain and I was unconscious. I think she had very extreme diarrhea, something like that. And she got unconscious, and she was in hospital, and she saw that at once I saw myself above my body. I could see my body. I could see doctors. They were over me. They were talking to each other. I could see my mother talking to my brother. And then I saw a very green, extremely green, beautiful, that we even cannot describe, a field. And then there were some mountains with those fields. And the sky was blue, but it was very different. And then there was her father, and he took her with him, but at one point he stopped and he said that you cannot go further. Like, she was crying and she was saying, no, please take me with you, I cannot live with you. He said, no, not yet. You cannot go far from this. I can go. You need to go back.
Mhm.
And then she said that I was back. So there were some other experiences too, but like those people's dreams, something comes in their thought that happens in future.
That's so we can call them premonitions. Yeah.
Premonitions.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
yes,
you can see the future ahead of time. It's like more
yes,
like open psychic abilities.
yes.
Mhm.
Then there were some people who heard voices from the graves. There
Mhm.
are a few people who would believe in that, but I do.
Mhm.
There were some people who at least once in their life or twice heard voices from the graves. Then there were some people who said that some dead, they came to them and they instructed something that please do this or please do that
The
for us.
spirits of the people who had passed on. Mhm.
Yes, yes, they came in their dream and they instruct. Then there were some people who heard the voices.
Mhm.
So there were so many things that especially the young people, they had to share and they wanted to share and they wanted to understand that what's going on. Am I something special? Is it something different? Is it just my thought? It's not natural
Yeah,
or
like
it's not.
just my imagination, or is it really an extrasensory capability?
They were confused, but what
Mhm.
I found was that like first, as I said, that every human has these extra sensory abilities and they can use it to better their life and they can use it to better the life of the others around them or the society in general. And second thing that I found that in their life, when they were immersed in something, when they were focused, like there was one woman, she said that when she was doing her MPhil or MS, and she had long traveling time also that time, her mind was thinking about her own subject. And that focusing helped her to develop her extra sensory skills more. And
Mhm.
same happened to me. And also in traveling, because generally in traveling, and especially when someone else is driving, we think a lot and it helps us to get focus. I always feel, and especially my PhD study, that told me that concentration is very important. It depends upon the stage of the concentration, that on what stage of concentration you are. Lack of concentration creates hyperactivity, attention deficits, intellectual incapability. But the concentration takes you from intellectual capabilities, social capabilities to the spiritual capabilities. And then it depends that to what extent you can concentrate, and everyone can do that.
Right.
I'm saying it hypothetically, but I say that miracles can happen.
Of course, yes, yes, yes. I have so many examples of most unimaginable, impossible things are possible, which we call miracles. Miraculous healings have happened, miraculous transformations have happened, and that is where I connect with you in everything that you're saying. I find it very interesting that you said you have PhD. Tell me about your background.
Right from my early childhood, I had very good memory. That's something different. I had good reading ability, and my aunts and my teacher and my mother, our father used to live in another country, in a foreign country. For a long time, we were with our mother. So my mother contributions, my aunt's contribution, my teacher's contribution. I was a good reader and I was a good writer, and that helps me throughout my life. So I feel that reading and writing, especially in our own mother tongue, and then the second language of the world, is very important for kids to be intellectuals and be capable of doing something in their life. But another thing, I had a strong sixth sense. I had the true dreams. The very first dream that I could remember is when I was 10-year old and my grandmother died. And exactly on the same night, I saw her in another world with her deceased, who were already died, parents, and only those brothers and sisters who were already died. I was very young at that time. I may not have very clear idea of death and life, but in my dream, I knew that some of her brothers were still alive. I did not see those in that beautiful field, and it has flowers, and they were all sitting on chairs. And as soon as my grandmother went there, they all stood up and they said, "We were waiting for you for a long time. We are happy you are here." And they were all very happy. In the morning, when I got up, I told my dream to my brothers and sisters, and they laughed. They laughed and they mocked, and they said that, "How could you know they were her parents? How could you know they were her brothers and sisters? You never saw them. You never saw
You
their
had never
pictures.
seen them before. Mhm.
They were died even long before my memories or I
Oh,
was born."
okay.
But in my dream, I could see them, and I found out who they were very clearly. And even though I was 10 years old, I said that I knew in my dream they were her sisters and brother.
Mhm.
Those were her parents, and I knew that. Then later on, I could see in my dreams so many things. Those were to be happened in future, even in
So
the distant future.
premonitions, or you can say prophetic dreams,
Yeah.
because you can, yeah, that's
And when first time in my life when I concentrated too much during my masters, at that time there was no cell phone or anything like that. There were other type of telephones, landlines at that time. At that time I concentrated too much on my study, that was my masters in archaeology, and with the help of that concentration my skills, they were really renewed, they were refreshed, and I could see a lot of things those were happening in future. I could see those things. Sometime I heard, sometime there was flash of light, and I saw those things. Now with my doctorate, I did doctorate quite late when my kids were school going, and there was a difference of in between 15 or 20 years in between my masters and my PhD. Again, like, that was my love for archaeology that I chose that subject. I read a lot about the technicalities of the meditation. I thought about it. At that time, my concentration increased, and with that, my ability to look into things, that increased. Like, one day, I went to a Buddhist monastery, ruined Buddhist monastery. We have a lot in our northwestern areas and also other areas of Pakistan. I went one of it. I was standing in a court, and I could see monks in 5th century CE. I even knew it was 5th century CE. They were laying down, they were looking upside, and they were doing their meditation. And there are also shrines, the Buddhist shrines all around, but I could see them. And even I said, "Oh, that's how you used to do your meditation to Maitreya." And later on, I read exactly same thing in the book. Now, I don't know it was the same day or it was some other day, but I went to the same ruined monastery. It was about like it was evening and it was close to being dark, and I saw one cell, meditation cell, and that cell is right from the start of archaeology till now. It's being interpreted in a totally different way in our archaeology. And people generally interpret it as bathrooms. But as soon as I saw it, I had some background too. I said, no, this is meditation cell.
so
And this is
you're
not
saying that those you saw them as meditation cells, but they have been now transformed or changed into used as bathrooms,
no
or they are assumed, their assumption is that these were bathrooms of those. Oh, so you're
interpretation. When you
okay.
see, when the archaeologists look at the ruins and they interpret it on the base of analogy, sometime on the base of text, but mostly analogy. So they were interpreted as bathrooms
Okay.
by the archaeologist, but I visioned it. I did not see anyone meditating there, but my brain said it's the meditation cell. And later I had some surveys, and later I found some text that I could maintain it very clearly in my PhD thesis that these that has long been interpreted as bathrooms, these are not bathrooms, these are the meditation cells. Like my mind saw it. My mind saw something in the past. So my point is that when you concentrate honestly, no matter on what thing you are concentrating, some of your spiritual abilities they refresh, no matter who you are, no matter what is your religion, but your good concentration just for your cause, it gives you at least some spiritual capabilities that help you along your life path as well as the afterlife path. And it may also help other people around you.
Beautiful. So when you're talking about concentration, that is in a way saying looking inside your own self. Am I right in you saying that part of your book is showing how youth get confused between what they are themselves experiencing and what their social infrastructure is? That is what creates confusion. And if they go inside themselves, like you did, which includes introspection, which includes looking into your own heart, into your own mind, and concentrating within that humanitarian space that there is divinity within each one of us that
True.
comes out, that flows out of you, and it shows you your own extrasensory capabilities are stored within you. And
Yes.
it shows you, it guides you also on your path. And that brings me to asking you about when is it that you recognized you had energy healing capabilities? Because that is how you and I connected. You have worked with some women and how much it has helped them. Tell me a little bit about it.
I think that was also outcome of the concentration and outcome of with the help of that concentration that was outcome of inside me.
Mm-hmm.
And even I don't know when it came up, really.
Oh.
Believe me, it at once came to me. Like there was a time in my life, and that was the same time when I was doing my PhD. I was too much in the practical religion, reciting Holy Quran, reciting du'as, saying my prayers, doing good with other people, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think because I was able to concentrate honestly on a cause, it gave me more cause in my life. And then I had kids at that time, and I'm a single mother. I was never away from my kids, but the sake of my study, I went to China and I stayed there for 6 months. And those away from my kids, away from my home responsibilities, away from my job responsibilities, I had all the time in the world to read, to concentrate, to rethink, to experiment so many different things. And at that time, I don't know how I got something in my fingers. In the
Like a sensation, energy sensation in your finger?
It was not even the energy sensation.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I don't know how I discovered, and there were some students there who felt anxiety and they were stressed or they were sad, they were homesick. I don't know how I at once I found that if I put my fingers on their shoulders, they will be relaxed. And I had no doubt. Like I can't say that I experimented with them. I was doing it first time, but I knew I have it. And it came at once to me. I don't know how. After that, I did a lot of therapy to the woman when I came back to Pakistan, and I always said that it's a gift. I don't know why I got it. I know it was due to because I had discovered myself. So I discovered some positive vibes, but still I say I don't know how I got it. And now I do it like that. I put my hands on the head and we call it the root. We recite peace for our holy prophet. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. And I put my hands on their head and their shoulders and their back. Depends on each and every person. Sometime on their arms and their hands, and I recite, and they feel relaxed. They feel relaxed. I do it not more than 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and it's not learned. Partly maybe it learned because I did a lot of reading when I was doing my doctorate, but still it's not learned. It's natural and gifted. Then another thing occurred. I don't remember whether it occurred at the same time or later. That when I put my hands on someone, I can feel what's troubling them. Sometimes they say that I am very sick, my heart is sick, my liver is sick. I can feel their body chemistry. And I tell them that no, you do not have these problems, or even if you have these problems, they are so minor that your body can recover it itself. And I can tell them that what's bothering them. Mostly, believe me, mostly what I found, mostly it's their stresses, it's their anxiety. But like this is my own ideas. I do not trust my ideas on anyone else, but most of the time the medical tests are standardized. This woman of this age, of this, should have this much BP, should have this much sugar level, should have this much heartbeat. Tests are standardized. There are so many other things standardized. The modern medical system do not take consideration of the individual differences. Every human being is unique. Maybe there is something that my body can adjust, and I do not need medicine for it, or I need very lower power, lower level of medicine,
Lower dosage of.
lower dosage or lower intensity.
Mhm.
But the modern medical system, it goes along the standardized patterns, not the individual patterns. Now, how we could know? Again, we should not be dependent too much on the modern medical system for everything, running to doctors for each and everything. We should try to concentrate, look inside us, find what really our body needs. Most of the time, we may save ourselves from very high level of diseases with the help of just looking inside us, understanding our own body. See, if I can see someone else body chemistry, why they cannot see their own? They have the same electromagnetic system. God gave them a very, very big radiations here. So many things we can see, but we do not. And the system, they make us sick. So this is one part of my healing system. Some believe too much in taking too many medicines, but my healing system that tells them exactly where is your problem, especially if it's the anxiety problem or stress problem or depression problem. And sometimes I also tell them that what they should do to to relieve to relieve themselves. And it comes natural to me, very natural.
It's also in the lines of being a medical intuitive that you can look at them. Your intuition is so strong. And so does the person have to be physically next to you, or can you do it remotely also? Like, there are some people who are long distance, and if they wanted to reach out to you, this is wonderful.
Yes, Ritu, it's a very good question, and it's the big problem these days that even if we are close to each other, we cannot reach. First, when I met you, I think about a month or month and
Mhm.
a half ago. At that time, I used to on phone, I used to recite some of the Holy Quran's ayat or verses on phone, and people feel relaxed. I can do it with anyone, and I assured them that they will feel relaxed and they will get new ideas. They can see new ways in their life, no matter who they are. They're Muslims, they are non-Muslims, they are atheists, no matter who they are. I can do their therapy with the help of Quran recitation on telephone. Plus, after I met you, another thing happened to me. Now, when I hear someone voice, even sometimes it's just a text, and someone voice on phone, something comes to my mind that tells me that this person have this problem and it can be solved with this and this solution. So that's another way I can help anyone. It's not a matter that I would help one particular group. I can help anyone just by hearing their voice. And again, I would say this is only a process of self knowledge. It's
Exactly.
I
Mhm.
would even not call it extrasensory. I would call it sensory. I would not call it extraordinary. I would call it ordinary. Every human being can do that. Just accept yourself, what you are. Just discover yourself, what you are, what God gave you. Be honest and concentrated on your cause. And if you have any question, please tell me. I would tell you another aspect of healing too.
What do you mean by another aspect of healing?
Okay, I want to another aspect. See, I,
There's so much to know. Okay.
see, look there, so many bracelets I have.
Okay, okay. So,
This I started a while ago.
okay.
Here,
So it's like you energize them with healing energy.
I energize them.
Yes,
Yes,
yes. Okay.
yes, yeah.
And people can get that from you.
Yes, this I started like 6 months ago, or even lesser, and it at once came to me that if I make some jewelry, it will attract people, and sometime I give them as a gift to anyone who is in problem. Sometime I sell them with a negligible price, very negligible price, as low as $1 per bracelet or anklet. Mostly I use the organic material, that is wood, stone, metal. Sometimes I use acrylic, but little acrylic, because organic materials are healing by themselves. Stones have their own effect. Wood has its own effect, or different type of woods have their own effect. The metals have their own effect on human body. But the most important thing, and I learned that when I was young from some older people. I also learned that from one of really respected old men, how to transfer the positive energy into things, how to transfer your positive vibes into different things. Again, I'm sorry, my needle is still there. Concentration. When I make these, it's easy and it's very hard. I concentrate only on healing people very honestly, very sincerely, just to attain my cause. I have nothing in my mind at that time. That's easy and that's very hard at that time. In our own language, we call it khalus or ikhlas, sincerity only to my cause. And my cause is healing, especially from stress or anxiety or depression. At that time, I keep only that in my mind. I do not need a reward. I do not need a praise. I do not need, people would say, oh, she is so good, or she gave me something that really relieved me. That concentration, that sincerity at that time to my cause, believe me, transfers the positive vibes into the material things.
Mm.
And these positive vibes work with other people.
Exactly. So again, you are talking about when you are connected to the divinity inside you and you're coming from purity of purpose, purity of heart, and you have been on a self-discovery journey with introspection, with in Hindi or Sanskrit, when we say meditation, that's the English word. What it is dhyan. Dhyan is that. So the English word is concentration. It all flowers the divinity lying dormant inside you, each and every person. That flowers when you also combined with the sincerity and purity of your intention to help other people, for to have them have healing for their life, to give them life. That is when all of these abilities can flower within you and they can be manifested for other people. And which has been your journey, and you are now reaching out and teaching, especially the youth, because they are the future of where they can take it to high levels. To when you say interreligious, what you are also conveying is that it does not matter what background you come from, what your social background is, what your religious background is. Within that, the main thing is dhyan, concentration, and having purity of heart. You can also experience your spiritual self. That is so beautiful. You have talked about spirituality. You have talked about all these divine skills and capabilities that we have within us. Where does science play a role? Because you also did PhD. So in your book or in your YouTube channels, speeches that you give, or is there a science element also? Because, this is the age where people are very logical. They are intellectual. So are you able to talk about it from a scientific aspect also?
I always have an answer. I'm a teacher.
Right.
Okay. Yes, that was one of my major topic in my book. One was the interconnection of different religions that I'll tell you later. And science was one of the major topic, and that's something that we people in my community they become defensive and they said no, why we should compare the religion with the science. But there is always an era when there was an era of philosophy, people used to relate the religion with the philosophy. Now this is era of science. So especially our youth, they want to know, though all of our religious practices and our concepts, they are related with afterlife, how they are related with our today's life,
What we
why
can
we
call
should do that.
practical spirituality, right?
Practical spirituality.
Yes.
I related all our religious practices in Islam with first their scientific, physical benefits. I'm sorry that I could not relate that. I talked a lot about the way, the nature, the Buddhism, the Christianity, to some extent the Jewish, but I could not talk about the particular practical aspects because I'm a Muslim and I did not did their practices. So I talked about our own practices. I talked about the fasting and how fasting is connected, its benefits are connected to our body and how these are connected to our mind. And one thing that I did again and again in each and everything is connecting the neuroscience and psychology
Wow.
will
Okay.
will
Neuroscience and psychology. Mhm.
neurosciences and the psychology, how they affect our vibes. Then I also connected it with the body chemistry, biochemistry, how they are connected with our biochemistry. And I even talked about very minute body chemistry, how fasting helps us in that, how we have these kind of findings before, but they have not been elaborated as much as I did. How the prayers, we do 5 time prayers, we Muslims do 5 time prayers, and it has different postures, standing, then this position, then going down to sajda. So we have raising our hands. With each and every movement and postures. I talk how it helps to develop our physical health, our mental health, how it affects our body chemistry, how it is related with neuroscience, how it is related with the psychology. Believe me, I even talked about the difficulties, that how difficulties help us to grow. Why do we have difficulties in life? There are so many people who say, if there is a God, why do we have this and this difficulty in life? I could not elaborate it to injustice or others thing in this book, but I just talked about difficulties, that how they help us to grow, how much we learn, how much we are ready for our next life combats with the help of difficulties. If there is no difficulty, there is no growth. And that again, I related the difficulties in life with the psychology and the neuroscience.
So that's complete circle. It's very practical sciences that everybody is living every day on a daily basis. So spirituality is not separate from our day-to-day living process, and you have brought it all together in your book and the message that you're giving through that. That is wonderful. Anything else that you would like to add before we complete our session?
There are actually two things I really wanted to convey, and I conveyed it and I concluded it in my book. That is interconnections. There are interconnections. Each thing is interconnected, interlocked in this universe. God made it so. I also talked about the diversity. Things are different. That's how the universe goes. Then, with interconnected, like material is interconnected with the spirituality, matter body is interconnected with the spirit, and how understanding our spirit, we can grow our spiritual abilities and we can help develop our own spirits. Most important thing I talked is interconnection of the religions, the comparative religions, comparison of religions in very positive aspects. All the religions are interconnected, and until and unless I do not know a little about other religions, we should know more. But if we don't want to know more, we should know at least a little about other religions for a complete picture, to help widen our horizon, to have a lateral vision. The problem arises when we have only frontal vision, and we have only frontal vision when we disconnect things and we think only about one thing. So almost all religions are interconnected when they talk about ethics, when they talk about values, when they talk about standards, when they talk about the discipline, the disciplinary action. So that was something we used to do it in past, like 10, 15 or 20 years ago. Comparative religion was very in, but with time and with more concentration with all type of sciences, we forgot not only about our own religions but also the interconnection. Now mostly we are solitary, and this is being solitary that creates a lot of psychological problems, a lot of stress, anxiety, a lot of thinking about ourselves only. And it's the interconnection that can relate us to other, and we find our own meaning within a very big society. This is one thing. And the other thing, I talked about a lady and I was very impressed about her, all the interviews and all her responses and everything. That young lady that was doing her MS, and she had to travel a lot and she could think, and she had a lot of visions and things like that. She could tell so many things that were happening in future. The same lady said that now it does not happen to me. And she said, and all of us do that, she said that why the visions and other thing and lack of concentration and I don't have spiritual experiences is my cell phone. I have my cell phone in my hand all the time, and I am doing something. I'm doing one thing, I'm doing another thing. I'm playing games. Believe me, I'm not against it. I'm not against it at all. I was a very like non-social media person a few years back, but especially after COVID. I also play games. I see so many videos. I do so many things with the help of cell phone. Right now, I am communicating with you and other people with the help of my cell phone. But our inner understanding that there is a lot of distractions these days, and these distractions make us unaware of our own self, our own needs. We have become very much away from our own selves due to all these distractions we have these days. We are thinking about other things. We are not thinking about ourselves. We are not thinking about other people who are around us. So, my conclusion always, even when I was teaching in Pakistan, I used to teach in university there. My conclusion always was timetabling, scheduling. Each and every day, schedule your time. And in that time slot, there should be some time that should be only for yourself. Thinking, reflecting. Reflection is very important. And most of the time, it's reflection that gives us self awareness. I did this and this today. I did this and this good today. What I can do tomorrow. This and this I should not have done today. How I can stop it tomorrow. How I can stop myself from doing it tomorrow. It opens your inner eyes. Giving yourself time, you can do whatever you want whole day, but there should be some scheduled time, only thinking, only reflecting, only discovering yourself. And when even 1% you discover yourself, you go ahead from there and you become beneficial not only for yourself but for all the other people who are around you. If I could discover myself with my very ordinary being, ordinary body, ordinary skill without learning anything, I did not sit anywhere and learned any meditation from anyone. I never did meditation actually. Whatever we do in namaz or in Holy Quran, I do that. I did not do any scheduled training in meditation, anything. Just a process, a journey of discovery. And it made me to help other people. There are so many people who are so much ahead of me. They're so advanced. Why they cannot do it? Just be fair with yourself. Discover your own abilities. Use your abilities. You make a lot of change around you.
Oh, what a beautiful positive message from the teacher about self-awareness, that this life, this is exactly the talk that we all need. That is the need of the day, because the life is about consciousness-based living. It is about self-discovery, because you are born and one thing is 100% sure, you're going to die. And between birth and death, if it hasn't been spent in self-discovery of your own inner truth, about your own inner divinity, then you feel something is lacking, and your inner soul, inner spirit keeps reminding you. And usually that's when you see people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, talking about, well, what is the meaning of life? We did this, everything that was external to us, everything
Yes.
that society told us we should be doing. I did all the check marks. I did all of it. And now I still feel empty. I feel my life is meaningless. And that is where your message through your book and through the healing work you're doing, that comes in to guide, especially the youth, that they should not lose the spiritual capabilities they already have realized within themselves, and to develop them more through this path of self-discovery.
Ritu, I would like to thank actually at the end. First of all, I would like to thank you for listening to me very kindly when I called you first time. You even did not know me, but I had a feeling that you always knew me. Thank you for understanding when we met and we talked about the extrasensory different matters. Thank you for this beautiful, beautiful talk. I would not have managed it. I would not have focused without your help. I would not have reached out to audience without your help. And then you reinterpreted each and everything so nicely, and some of the technical terminology you gave, and I even wrote down some of the terminology you gave me, and it will help me to research more. Second, I would like to thank all those who helped me develop, my childhood teachers, my aunts, my parents, my brothers, my sisters, especially my teachers. And I am very, very thankful, and I'll always remain very thankful to my PhD supervisor, my Professor Dr. Muhammad Farooq Sawati. I did my PhD under his very kind supervision. And he helped me to focus, to be on track, focus, how to be comprehensive, how to say your thing. And I did that PhD at a time that was a really, really challenging time in my life. Maybe we will talk sometime about that. And that was the PhD that helped me to grow my channelize, actually, not my energies, maybe energies too, but channelize my thought, channelize my skills to bring things into focus and to understand, to help to discover myself. And that's how gradually, now it's about, I think, 8 years, I completed my doctorate. There was a spiritual journey that was really, it was not started, but gained its thrust at the time of my PhD. And there was a lot that was contributed from my supervisor. Thank you.
Beautiful. That is what God is. God is love. God is gratitude. So in gratitude to all the divine beings we meet and everybody that God has brought in our way, the source, the supreme being, the one source of all of us that connects hearts to hearts, and our heartfelt journeys continue with talking to each other from our inner loving heart space. And for more conversations to happen, thank you so much, and blessings to everyone who's listening, and blessings to you, Alia, for joining in this conversation.
Thank you, Ritu. Thank you.
Bye.
Bless you.